Craig Allen of GSN Gold Standard Nutrition. Welcome to Brand Growth Heroes. How is it in York this morning?
It's very good, thank you. It's freezing today. First day we've had proper frost on the cars. So yeah, it's lovely. Really, really nice.
I can't wait. Do you think it's going to snow this year?
We've had forecasts for snow tomorrow, I think. It's overnight tonight. So we'll see, hopefully.
Brilliant. Well, listen, you're so welcome. And I have to admit, you know this, but to the listeners out there, I hadn't come across GSN before, and I was so glad when you got in touch because it is really lovely to be speaking to a brand up north. You're based in York, right?
We are, yeah, just outside of York, so a little town called Selby.
I know Selby. Actually, my godmother used to live really nearby. So I've been around
really?
there. Yeah. I used to visit all the time when I was a graduate down in Nestle in the UK in Croydon. I'd go up whenever I needed some kind of family love. I'd go up on the weekends on the train, and she's really near Selby, so I know exactly where you are. So listen, tell us all about GSN so everybody can imagine what we're going to be hearing, and everybody listen to this because you're going to hear how to bootstrap a business to profitability by what age are you now?
I'm 32.
32. Incredible. Go for it. Tell us all about GSN.
So GSN, we're 12 years old, 13 in May. Started this from coming out of university when I was 20. So I went to Manchester Met University, studied business enterprise. Before that, I did sport and exercise science at college, at York College. Always had a massive interest in sport and fitness, and family's always been foodies. So I went to uni not really knowing what I was doing, but I always knew I wanted to do something by myself. I did a year of partying, meeting some great people, but I didn't really feel like it was something that was beneficial to me. I wasn't learning enough. I was doing 8 hours a week, and I just felt like I've had a good year. But second year, my dad proposed the idea of why don't you just come and gain some real life experience, join the family business. There's no pressure to join and sort of having to do sort of what he does, but let's just get some ideas of what it could look like. So about 6 months into working with my dad, he took me to a restaurant, which was a Chinese restaurant. And the owner was really excited about showing my dad this steam cooked chicken that he'd used, introduced to the restaurant, saved loads and loads of time. And in introducing that, it gave me a bit of a light bulb moment whereby I saw how convenient it was and why something that could be used from a restaurant, why is that sort of something that's exclusive to a restaurant? Why couldn't I use that as a gym goer and someone from university that couldn't cook?
So just sorry, because I'm a bit stupid with these things. So steam cooked chicken. So why was he excited about steam cooked chicken?
I think he was excited just because it tasted great. It was going to save him loads of time. And from a restaurant's perspective, all of his wastage was going to be massively improved. His timing was going to be improved, and he could just get dishes out quicker.
So was it just like in a bag and he was mixing it with, what was it? Like frozen steam cooked chicken, mix it just per dish?
Yeah, so they're frozen, they're cooked and then they're steam cooked and then frozen. So you just have to defrost and they're ready to eat. So you can throw them in a wok, you can throw them in the oven, you can eat them cold. They were kind of bulletproof, a bulletproof chicken.
Okay.
Really. So the concept was fantastic, and it was something that when I tried it and it tasted. First time similar to yourself and sort of coming across it, I was like, is it real chicken? Is it normal? Like, is it the same? So went through this discovery of steam cooked chicken and what was available on the market. This one particular one was full of E numbers and loads more water, but I wanted something that was more clean deck. So we went and shopped the market, found some clean deck chicken, which was just chicken, water, salt, so as healthy as you can be. And then I went and proposed that to some friends, some gym goers, some gym owners, and I said, "This is something that I really like. Would you buy it as a gym owner, and would you use it?" And the feedback was just really exceptional. Their feedback was similar to sort of my surprise. It was just like they would absolutely use it. It'd save them loads of time and save them loads of prep. So off I went then to set up GSN. I wasn't sure of the size of the opportunity, but I just got excited about this product. I bought in gold bags from eBay. I bought vinyls from a local vinyl printer, and I used to vinyl every gold bag, and then I'd drive them up to a factory over in Manchester. The Manchester factory would rebag every from a blue bag to a gold bag, and then I would then drive them to each of the gyms. So we knew there was an opportunity inside the gyms, but we didn't have a housing inside of the gyms. So we bought 10 freezers from the London Olympics, and then I taught myself how to vinyl freezers and and just have a go in my dad's garage. So at this moment in time, it's just a one-man band of me trying my hand at lots of new things.
So when you say gold bags, are we talking about gold bags of a few portions of chicken pieces that are frozen and they've been previously steam cooked?
Yeah, so the 2.5 kilos, so quite a large gold bag, and there'd be 20 to 24 chicken breasts inside each.
And out of interest, when people saw that, were they chopped up chicken breasts or full chicken breasts?
Full breasts.
When people saw that in a freezer in a gym, did they know exactly how they'd use it? I mean, was it like a no-brainer for people when they're like, oh, there's a bag full of chicken breasts? Did they just know?
The education was something we had to work really hard on. So we did a lot of work on like sample days, and we did a money back taste guarantee for the first couple of years that nobody actually took us up on, but it was just something that we wanted to sort of like propose that to sort of just gain a bit of confidence. And with the gyms, we had to give the gyms credit because, again, with them as a new business, I needed them to sort of share the enthusiasm with me and put the risk more on me than it was on them, just to get the buy-in. So we had a lot of gyms that were on credit to start with. So we put the freezer in, put the first fill of chicken in, and then I would work around a milk round. So I did that for the first couple of years. Bought a Tesco truck. Again,
you're so funny. So secondhand everything.
It was very, because we were looking at like very, very budget. We were looking at how can we bring something. A freezer's a freezer. I don't need to buy a brand new freezer when a freezer from the London Olympics has only been used a couple of times and they were like perfect working freezers. So when you've put a vinyl on them, they look as good as new. And then we had a Tesco truck. The middle compartment could fit 3 of these chest freezers inside, and then the back compartment could fit all of the chicken in. So what I did was then drive the country. I'd set up 3 new gyms at the same time as sort of building a milk round of dropping off the stock that was needed to all the other gyms. And I worked that as sort of long as I could by myself. So we got to a point of like 80 accounts around sort of M62 corridor and as far down south as Stamford, like Peterborough way. And yeah, that was how GSN was born, really.
And so what changed? And what was the next step then? So for a while it was just chicken. And I mean, let's just tell everyone what it is now and then we can fill in the gap. So if we look on your website and see the range of products that you offer and the range of kind of like retail outlets that you sell in, what are the products and what's the retail outlets?
Okay. So yeah, the brand as it is now, we wanted to like reimagine frozen foods. So we have a range of 21 different ready meals. So they're called our pots of gold. They're 6-minute microwave meals, high protein, low sugar. We have a range of steam cooked chicken and like roasted chicken pieces in multiple different flavors. And then we have a range of snacking wraps. So like 2.5 minutes in the microwave, 20 plus grams of protein, 6 flavors of those, just pop in the microwave and you're ready to go. And actually today we've just launched our first range of signature meals. So the first 4 flavors have come out. That's going to be chicken panang, a chicken tikka dal, a lamb hot pot, and a beef ragu. So the idea with them is to sort of elevate your evenings, because that was the one missing part in our range, is that we're not necessarily serving for evening settings. So the idea with GSN is to create a frozen food brand that you can start and finish the day. We are trying to look after your nutrition, make nutrition as healthy, as tasty, and as convenient as possible. So that's our pillars, really. It's healthy, tasty, easy is what we stand for.
And you said to me before we started that you're going to sell 15 million quid's worth of meals, in terms of people are going to spend 15 million quid's worth of your meals in 2025. I mean, that's huge, right?
Yeah, it's a long way since the first bag of chicken.
Plus, you are profitable. You know, healthily profitable, and you've been bootstrapped. So that's incredible. Well, I just want to say well done. You know, I mean, you should be really like proud of yourself, because that's a really tough thing to do in food.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think it's been a really tough journey, but I think it's one that, because I was 21 and kind of naive to sort of what the opportunity was, and I would just head down and did whatever it would take to get to succeed. I didn't pay myself more than £30,000 for the first 7 years of running GSN. So I was prepared for sort of the long run of this being a brand that was sort of going to hopefully pay something well down the line. But there wasn't a rush. I'm a father now of 2 kids, a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. I had first kid at 27, and it's definitely been a juggle of finding the right balance of running the business, but making sure there's sort of enough focus on family and friends as well. So GSN's become kind of that. It's a brand that's a lifestyle business as well as it is sort of a successful business. It's something that I'm hugely passionate about. The people involved in business are hugely passionate about, and we want to make healthy eating and food like just something that it's more available and accessible by your everyday active person.
So originally, though, it was like gyms, right? But now, when you're going to be like in 2025, when you've sold that 15 million quid's worth of food to people around the UK, are they all gym goers, or are they just people who really care about what they put in their bodies?
Yeah, so we had a shift really in our target market, because bodybuilding was great and it still is sort of a large part of our audience group. But 3 years ago, we went through a rebrand and changed from Gold Standard Nutrition to GSN. We softened the colours, introduced more food-focused imagery. And some of the new flavors that we introduced and some of the new products that we introduced was to open up the market space to be more like mainstream audiences. Because not everyone's a bodybuilder, but everyone should be able to eat healthy and should have the opportunity to eat healthy. So that change meant that we then started selling into universities. We sold into direct to the Royal Marines. We'll do direct to police stations, where we set up tuck shops inside police stations. We work with the NHS in frozen vending machines. We put freezers into garage forecourts all around the country, and we still do sort of direct to consumer. So what we're trying to do as a business is look at all the places that the big brands aren't necessarily looking, but collectively they make up for sort of a large proportion. So we're looking a bit thinking a bit outside the box in where is the good opportunity to buy food, and gyms was the first obvious point. Workplaces is another, and then that's why we're looking at how can we sell back to universities, student market, and the health focused sort of students. Now there's a huge opportunity to sell to students and start a new generation actually eating right and feeling.
It's really clever. When I was back in Nestle I was there from 1999 to 2006. And before I left to set up GU France, I was working for the chairman on a project about step changing Nestle UK. And one of the big ideas that we worked on was vending in hospitals for staff and visitors, but vending total meals where there was a microwave involved, and that was, even back then, that was seen by a company like Nestle as a massive opportunity. So, these are where to plays, as we call them in Brand Growth Heroes. These are where to plays that people who have started in the grocery channel find it very difficult to go back and get right, whereas you're starting in those areas from the beginning and building your business model around where to plays that other people haven't worked out how to get to. And it's really easy to tag grocery on at the end of that. So you're prime position to build a brand that is going to be really, really acquirable by some seriously big players who care about nutrition globally. Has anyone kind of knocked on the door or been interested yet?
We've had inquiries, but I feel like there's a lot of unfinished business still with GSN. There's still such a huge part to play, and there's some. And I don't think I'd ever want to sell out. There wouldn't be a consideration of selling out fully yet. There is my dad's at a retirement age, and sort of he's looking at some of his shares, and it's a discussion we have with what do we have that as a management buyout, or do we potentially
bring in another investor,
invite other investors. So like you say, it's a really exciting business to be part of, and there's huge potential and all these growing opportunities that we've now got. So
how many people are working for the business now, and do you have your own factories, or do you use co-manufacturers, or how does it work?
So they're all co-manufacturers. We have 3 UK sites. They all hand fill, hand make the food. the reason we choose to sort of work with the factories that are sort of a slightly smaller scale and more hands-on is because I think we focus fully on the taste first, and we feel like we can't get that taste right if we go to a multi-head sort of deposited line, a manufacturing line. So we use a lot of kettles, a lot of brat pans, and a lot of sort of just home cook style methods to sort of make all of our meals. And I think what you'll find in the market space now, when you shop a lot of the supermarkets and where you'll see other competitors, they nutritionally are sound, but they don't necessarily taste great, or they don't necessarily give you the satisfaction that you want from a healthy meal, which is where we're trying to find that right balance of taste as well as nutrition. So a lot of our flavors are focused around like street food influence. So our best seller is a katsu curry. So it's a breaded chicken katsu curry, real panko breadcrumbs on and it microwaves in 6 minutes. So a Wagamama style, or sort of something around that style, but you're getting for £3.50 to £4, and you're getting 30 grams of protein.
Okay, that's amazing. So it's like the high protein version of casual dining, fast casual dining.
Yeah, there's been definitely some inspiration drawn from sort of casual dining and some sort of more recognized sort of restaurant flavors, and that's what we don't necessarily buy the data from any of the Kansas or anything like that. We look at the market space and see which are the most popular street food stalls, which are the most popular restaurants, who are the most popular sort of up and coming Deliveroo players, because I think it's more real life and more attuned to who our customer group is. Your like 24 to 35, 40-year-old audience group that are currently our sort of the main demographic. And because everyone in the business eats and lives like the GSN lifestyle, it's one that if it works for us as a flavour, it tends to sort of stick pretty well with our customer group. And in answer to your question, in sort of how many people are we working with, there's 8 full-time in the office. We're like a trading office and marketing office here, 3 UK manufacturing sites. We work with UK's largest, Europe's largest cold store, they're down in Chesterfield. And we now have the foundations in place that we're doing around about 250,000 meals a month, but there's capacity to do well over 500,000 meals a month in this sort of current structure that we've got without any more real investment in people or foundation.
It's amazing. So what do you do for marketing? Like, talk to us about your marketing strategy and how you activate that and the community that you've built up around GSN.
Mm-hmm. So we work with quite a lot of athletes and ambassadors that would want to work with us, and we feel like that's an easy place to start. We work with people that see the benefit of using GSN in their lifestyle, and they can influence their micro audiences or larger audiences. Marketing strategy, we've got a great team of people that are like just content producing in house. We interview a lot of people like. We interviewed Harry Lightfoot the other day. That's the UK's fittest man. Last year, finished 21st out the world's CrossFit elite. So he was in the other day training with us, and we trained together, and we just ask sort of a real sort of face-to-face questions and just understand who he is as a person. And he's really invested in us, and we try and do that with a lot of other people that we work with. We invite him into the office. We've got an in-house gym at the office.
Wow.
Always loads of food on the go. And
where does this go? Where did the content go? Which is the channel that you get the most traction on?
It's Instagram mainly, but we're consciously now trying to build more around like the YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook, as well as Instagram. Instagram has naturally sort of been our best channel, and paid socials across Facebook and Instagram. Okay. So I think one thing I've not done particularly well, being completely honest, is storytell like the journey of GSN and how we've done it, and get the investment into me as an owner driver, but also sort of like GSN as a team. So I think that's important for us to separate ourselves away from being shoulder to shoulder with some of the larger brands, and to actually show that where we're different, how we're different, and that it is this smaller business, but doing things the right way, and hopefully sort of like it's something that people will see
Well, that sounds great. You
and encouraged
starting
by it,
here,
yeah.
right? This is your first podcast in
There we go.
the food and beverage CPG world, so great place to start. So you've obviously done a lot of things right because you've got to a significant size, so 10 million in revenue last year in 2024, this year, and with relatively low overheads. Let's be honest, with 8 people in the office, and that's incredible. You're profitable. You're growing in size and in profitability. What do you think it is about how you and your team have run the business that have allowed you to get to a place where you got past the 1 million, the 5 million, and now you've got to 10 million, and that you've done it profitably, all while still retaining 100% ownership? What have you got right?
I wish it was an easy ride, but it's a lot to do with like trusting the right people, and this is something I've had to learn along the way, is that you can't do it all yourself. You have got to find the right people and delegate to those correct people and trust that they can do the job as well as you, if not better. And so it's investing in sort of specialists that you can bring in and put accountability and responsibility on them. So I think the team culture and team focus is making sure everyone's aware of that vision, everyone's aware of sort of where we're trying to get to and why we're trying to get there. It's not about revenue for us. It's not just about how much money can we turn over. It's doing things sort of correctly. It's not an ego business where you want to be boasting about how much money you've turned over. It's a family business that we actually want to sort of be profitable. So like you say, it's got to be something that is trusting the process and doing it slowly but carefully, and investing every penny correctly. So we spoke off air about how we've it took us, I think it was nine years before we bought our first brand new freezer. So every freezer we ever bought was always secondhand, a B grade freezer that had come out of supermarkets. Supermarket would only give 4 to 5 years life on a freezer, but you can reservice that freezer, and it's a perfect working freezer. And we resurface it, revinyl it, sticker it up, or wrap it in our cladding. And when that goes into a gym, the gym owner doesn't necessarily care whether that's a brand new freezer, as long as it's sort of a working freezer. And that's something that, with a mentality, we've always looked at it being, how can we just do things a little bit different?
It's the frugal north,
everybody
isn't it?
Else. So yeah, we're tight Yorkshiremen, but trying to look at it.
But that's good. I think it's brilliant. Rather than saying, "Oh, we're going to need loads of investment and we're going to need this much money to make it all happen," you're just like, "How can we do it ourselves?" Yeah. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And I think it's important. It's important not to panic either, because I think what we've seen is a lot of other people come into our field, and when some of our first exhibitions we ever went to, there's some massive players that have spent a hell of a lot of money, but they'll be big for 2 or 3 years, and then they've either been absorbed into the business or they no longer exist. So I think what I've learned over the years is to not panic in trying to follow somebody else that's spending a lot of money. It's sort of being true to sort of what you do yourself, believe in what you're doing, and not panic if a new exciting brand is coming on the horizon that's had some large investment. It's just being sort of what we say is like protecting our core, so protect what we're really good at and allow ourselves some small opportunities of expanding, but just don't overreach, because what we want to do, everything that we do, we want to do properly. We don't want to do half-assed sort of like new opportunities. So I think that's probably a roundabout way of how we've got to where we are today.
And what about the tough times? Because I know, over 10 years there's going to be tough times. If you could go back, what are like 2 or 3 things that you would do differently?
So at 24, I had to restart the business, almost like where I made my whole team redundant, apart from one other person. And that was because we tried to work with another brand, and that was not necessarily believing that the business could take on a larger competitor, and we allowed ourselves to sort of get trapped a little bit into that place. And I think a lesson I've learned is to sort of like believe in yourself a little bit more, and like, not to make rash decisions. So that was one of the hardest times, and sort of first time at 24 years old, making your whole team redundant, and that must
have been so tough.
Big lesson for me, and that's something that, again, we've taken. It's almost a scar that I sort of still live with. I've got to be earning a hell of a lot more before you reward yourself with an extra member of staff, or before you buy your next van, or you buy your next. So it's kind of being very careful and considerate in sort of where and how we spend money. A lot of the reason behind that was, unfortunately, when we went into gyms, some of the gyms with all good intentions, but didn't necessarily pay the bills for the freezers on time, or pay the bills for the food. So as a small business, we're trying to grow and establish this trust in GSN, and we've at any one time you've got 80 freezers out there that are all on credit, and the gyms are on credit, and if they don't pay in time, it's the cash flow that is something that came unstuck, which as we shifted, we now got every gym to pay up front, and all the online customers that pay up front. So that was a lesson learned, that probably not to put
trust,
a trust, but also, I think it is just the importance of cash flow in business. I think that plays a huge part, especially when you're bootstrapped, is just to you can't run a business without cash flow. So that was something that was very hard. And lessons, it's I think I've mentioned it before. Like trust in your own vision, trust in your own process, and sort of believe. If you can be the most passionate person about where you're going and what direction you're going in, as long as you fully believe in that, it's trusting your gut, and as long as you're willing to give it everything that you've got, which is what we've done. If you get there, it's an amazing feeling to sort of, a real proud moment to sort of sit back and look at what you've built.
Yeah. So what about in 5 years' time? Where will GSN be, do you think? Where would you like it to be?
I get asked this a lot, actually. And I think what we've struggled, if you look at where we were 5 years ago, I wouldn't have necessarily said where we are today. So I think where we try and stay and remain flexible. I think we've got three arms to the business. We've got the e-com side, direct to consumer, which has got loads more potential of growth. Wholesale side, we're up to 500 UK independent sites. As we said, can be anywhere from a university, garage forecourt, Royal Marine site, or gyms. And then there's retail. I think we haven't yet broken into retail. We've scratched the surface of some sort of convenience retail. So we're into East of England co-ops, some central co-op sites, some spa garages. We're talking to some military site bases that could potentially bring the food on site, direct to universities and direct to sort of the public sector. So there's lots of room for growth in all three channels, which is what we're dialing in on. And international expansion, we've had lots of requests to send the product over to the Middle East or into Europe. We've tried it in Ireland at the moment, so we have 25 freezers in Ireland, and we've sort of took our first sort of stepping stone into sort of what a world would look like if we were trading overseas.
Out of interest, who do you use to help you do that in Ireland?
We had a mutual contact from Aurora, my dad's business, that helped us sort of just create the infrastructure over there, and we've worked with a cold store that has never picked and packed sort of single cases. We've worked with them really closely on teaching them what we've learned, done over here, and taken over and
okay. So you're basically doing it yourselves over there.
A little bit.
Well done.
What we've found in frozen food is that there's not one plugin, and the same with. It's just there's no, you can't just sell to one big distributor and they've got all of the network. That network doesn't necessarily exist. So we have to build that. We have to build that ourselves. The infrastructure's all got to be created from scratch. So that's where we've gone. Right now, we can sell to your distributors that distribute all of your Walls ice creams and places like that for corner shops, but they don't necessarily deal with the gym. So we have to go direct to the gym. So we've always got to sort of find a solution in where we're selling.
Okay.
And
well, it's been really lovely to meet you. I'm looking forward to trying some of your products.
I can definitely get you some.
That would be great.
That's no problem.
Do you think they'll make it all the way to the Isle of Man?
In this weather, I think we could put it on a week's worth of shit if it stayed frozen.
That would be brilliant. I'd love that. And you said to me earlier that you were going on a discovery safari down to some markets. Tell us a little bit about that before we head off.
Yeah, so going down to Bristol street food on Wednesday evening. So I'll be spending all Wednesday and Thursday just going through the bit of like discovery. So me and the team, and we have a head chef that's a Michelin star trained chef, and me, him, and one of the factory guys will go around. We'll try lots of different food stalls. We'll draw inspiration from what flavors that we like. You can sort of take a step back and look at which are the busiest stalls, and it helps us really just understand where the market's going, and we get a chance to sort of go and try some really exciting flavors. And what we're not afraid of doing is looking at like collaborations. If there's the right opportunity, we'll make sure that the credit's given out to the right person as well. And we just want to work on making healthy eating as enjoyable and as affordable as possible.
That's amazing.
So one thing we haven't touched on like in the chat was that, you know, one of our meals is 6-minute microwave meal that's all real food, all handmade, hand filled in the UK, will retail for £4 a meal. So like the next nearest alternative would sort of typically sell for like that's produced in the same way would typically sell £6, £7, £8.
That's amazing.
So we're trying to make healthy eating
affordable, accessible,
affordable, accessible, and also taste good. So it's something that's it's important to me, and we're on that journey. We've got a long way to go, but we want GSN to be the name that people think of when they're looking at healthy, accessible, and affordable frozen foods.
Well, good for you. Do you think that being away from London and the kind of whole like founder buzz in the southeast means that you have more time to focus on actually running the business? Do you think that would be a distraction? Because it feels different talking to you than talking to some of the founders I speak to who are like myself, sucked into that whole world of, you know, LinkedIn and whatever, and it's quite a distraction. Am I talking rubbish or?
No, I think you're right. It's because you're not involved in the networking world and the drinks out of hours and you know, LinkedIn. I'm guilty of not posting enough on LinkedIn myself, but what it allows you to sort of like focus and get your head down and not being involved in their meetings, you do miss out on the network that you do need and the opportunities that sort of can come from a conversation. GSN's been built on conversations, referrals and recommendations. So I think what I've found as I've got to know more business owners and involved in more like WhatsApp chats and involved in more podcasting is that there's so much power in networking and sort of how people can help you, and people are such a huge part in how GSN have been built. You know, I couldn't do it all on my own, and it's more like asking favors sometimes and not being afraid to ask a question that sort of like seems stupid, but it's, you know, we've always found just asking the question and finding people within your network has been a real resource for GSN.
So good balance of both really is the answer to that one, I think.
Yeah, I think drop what's being done just for ego purposes, but like the ones that are relevant. Like I'm down in London tomorrow. I'm down in London on Wednesday, and like, you know, it would make sense to be down there sometimes. But I do enjoy the northern routes and sort of the what you can achieve up north. And like you said, there's very little businesses up north that are just foundationally sort of from the north, and I think that's important to sort of to
highlight them.
And highlight them. We've got some amazing friends of business that are involved in a similar industry with different products that are doing a great job. And, you know, we often get together and just have a coffee and what have you found? What have I found? And, you know, we're trying to create our own network up north, but it's not as easy as doing it
Good for you.
when it's in London.
Good for you. Actually, I had Gary Lavin on the show last week. He has a brand called VitHit, vitamin water, the number one vitamin water in the UK and Ireland. And we were having a laugh because we met on a ski holiday, or we bumped into each other in a bar in Maribel, like in 1999. And he was only just setting up the business then. But then when I moved home from France after I finished in GU France in 2010, I got him and a couple of other food and beverage industry people together, and we used to have dinner once a month together, and that was the only way, because there's no other networking available. And we're still friends, you know. We're still friends. Actually, someone to look out for on Instagram. There's a fabulous girl called Sophie_Morris, and she has just She's always been in food and beverage. First of all, she had a brand called Cookie Dough, spelt with a K, years and years ago. And then she became a nutritionist, and she was doing gym food and nutrition. And then she had kids. So it was all about baby-led feeding. And now it's all about raising awareness about food labels and clever supermarket swaps. And she's a bit like that tonic guy, but she's got like 250,000 followers in Ireland. And, you know, she'd be a great person to send some samples to, reading the back of the pack versus the back of some of the packs that are in store. She's basically followed by everyone in Ireland now, you know. So she's a really good person to know. Listen, it's been absolutely lovely to meet you. Wishing you the very best of luck going forward. And I'm looking forward to tasting those tasty meals.
Fantastic. No, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. And yeah, it's been a lovely chat. Thank you.
It's been lovely.